All right. So, hello, Camilla, and awesome pleasure to have you here
Good
today.
afternoon, Michelle. So happy to be here with you.
Yes. So, we have a few people I am aware of. They're going to be joining to view and see. And, just kind of in our conversations that we've been carrying and talk with Camilla, for those that may or may not have met you as of yet, Camilla is a very, very successful psychotherapist. She has been in her space for many years, successful business leader, and also specialized in crisis management. And I think we're all living in a little bit of that today. So Camilla, we've had the pleasure of having Camilla come on and visit us a few times of the week. And I'm just really, really excited to continue to me learn because I've been practicing certain things. And I know we've got a really special topic that we want to talk about today.
Yes, thank you for having me. I know that during this time, anxiety is pretty heightened, and people are looking for information and self-help on how they can deal and manage with their anxiety.
Yeah. And
Mhm.
sleepless nights, wrestling, just your whole sleeping patterns, or it could be adjusting.
Yeah, so I thought today we could talk about how to sleep better if the anxiety of COVID-19 or coronavirus is keeping you awake, because I know that I experienced that myself. I started to, wake up in the middle of the night, have trouble falling asleep. And so I started to reflect on my sleep hygiene, and to say, what am I doing differently? Where have I fallen off the track, so to speak? And so I put together 8 tips um, that I think would be helpful to people. So, because talking to my friends, they're posting on Facebook and they're saying, "What time is everybody going to bed at?" And we've got the 3 o'clock nightclub going on, right? Sorry,
Yeah.
3 a.m. nightclub going on.
Yeah.
And so people are, off routine. They're off schedule. They're eating differently. Everything is different, and so and your sleep patterns are off. So the first tip is exposing yourself to morning daylight. This one is really important. I know people are sleeping in. They're going to bed late, so they're going to sleep in. And
Hmm.
so that also throws off your sleep schedule. But there's a recent study in the Journal of Sleep Health, and what they did is they exposed workers to sunlight or bright indoor lights during the morning hours. So this is before noon, right? And what they found is that they tended to sleep better at night, and they were less depressed and less stressed than those workers who did not get access to morning light. So getting outside, going out for a morning walk all before noon. So this is not like an afternoon thing that has to be done in the morning.
In the
So
morning.
yeah, morning exposure to light is really critical. The other reason, sort of the science behind that, is because the morning light, having more morning light and less light in the afternoon, what it does is it calibrates the body's internal circadian clock. So that's why we need to do that. And I know it's hard to get outside, when the weather's not great. Or, in some countries, you've been ordered to stay indoors. You can't even go outside.
Yeah.
So, the best thing to do is, and those of us too that work from home, right, is position yourself near a window.
Mhm.
If you can, open the window. If you can sit outside your veranda and, do some work outside.
Yeah.
If you're able to go out, get yourself, for about 10-15 minute walk if you can. Anything that you can do to expose yourself to the natural light.
To the natural sunlight. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah.
Very good. Very, very good. I've just as you were saying, Camilla, and because it's true. Just I've noticed it more in this week than previous weeks. The well, we have I've a few kids at home and one still in school. The other one almost finished university, but structure, oh my goodness. So it's an intentional thing for me where I'm kind of getting them up at a certain time, what they've got to do, making sure that certain things are done. There's activity, but just and you're here, like, you're absolutely correct. I've even noticed it with my colleagues where they might be up, and it's true, they might be up later at night, but I'm still sort of about that 8:30, 9 o'clock mark. Okay. But I'm up early in the morning.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. It's
Yeah.
important to stick to a routine. I mean, I have young kids too, and so of course they want to sleep in, right? Teenagers love to sleep in.
Yeah.
So I'm creating schedules with them as well. And so we're blessed to have a dog, and the dog needs to go for a walk. So we
Good.
rotate the schedule to get them out of bed so that they can have their walk in the morning.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
What, not to take you off track, but I just have to ask quickly again, the breed of your dog is?
Oh, my dog is it's called a coton. So it's in French,
Oh,
coton
yes.
de Tulier. It is a small breed dog, and she's hypoallergenic, and she's lovely.
Wonderful. We
Mhm.
have a similar, same hypoenergetic, a golden doodle, but we are now at the point where we have to start to learn how to clip her
Oh,
or clip him.
wow.
Yes.
Ooh, that's fun.
Mhm. I thought I'd share that afterwards. Once we learn, we'll show you a new skill that we got to learn. So, yes.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we
So,
know the relevancy and the critical importance of natural light, but what I'm also now hearing is the time of day, and that
time of day.
it's so
Time
important
of
to get it before noon and get it in the morning.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. The second tip that I can share is taking a hot bath or a hot shower before sleep. This is something that I do all the time, even in the middle of a hot summer. And the reason I do this, and I kind of, how do I say, it makes me sleep better, but I didn't understand the science behind it. So the
Okay.
science behind it is this: your body, um, when there is a change in temperature, your body releases melatonin. And melatonin is the primer to your brain to say, okay, it's time to go to sleep, right? So, in order for you to initiate and maintain sleep, your body needs to have a rise in melatonin. So, one of the best way to do that is you have a hot shower, you have a hot bath. When you come out of the bath or shower, your body temperature goes down. That decrease in body temperature stimulates your body to release melatonin. Does that make sense?
It does make sense. It does make
Yeah.
sense. Now, I did hear this, and it's more from an energy spiritual standpoint, but it was whenever you're have like a shower, they may well claim that it is good to kind of end it off with a bit of coolness. And I guess the philosophy underneath that is it kind of wakens the um chakras, if you will. Okay, so
But you could do that in the morning, right? I
mhm,
actually have a client right now who's discovered cold showers are helping him to deal with anxiety. So yes,
wow,
the temperature cold showers do help, but I would choose those in the morning
yeah.
versus in the evening.
I'm giving you a virtual hug because I am not a fan of any cold. So I give you a virtual hug morning, and we're done with the cold shower. I can look forward to the warm one at night.
Yeah,
Good.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So having a
Very
warm bath,
interesting.
warm shower stimulates melatonin, and that's what's going to help us get to bed. The third thing is connecting with people. You know, this social distancing goes against our norm of being social beings, right?
Yeah.
So here's what I want to say. Social distancing does not mean stop being social. I have such a beef when I go for a walk and people put their head down and they run circles around you and they ignore you. They pretend you're not even there, like they have to run away from you. Okay, let me tell you, that is not social distancing. Social distancing means keep 2 meters apart.
Yeah.
but it doesn't mean don't talk to people. It doesn't mean don't say hello to people. It doesn't mean don't ignore people,
Yeah.
right? So, connection communication is so important for diffusing stress.
Yeah.
Um, we don't want to take these worries and concerns to bed with us. So talk to people during the day. Call them, text them, be in communication. Go for a walk, say hello to people.
Would it be fair? My husband, and it's amazing what you're sharing right now, because my husband, a couple days ago, he's considered an essential worker. And so he's in a company that he works with. It's a fair size. So they've made very, very good adjustments to address, what we're calling social distancing. However, my husband came home and he said, Michelle, why are we calling it social? It's not social, it's physical. That's all. We're
Oh,
still
good.
talking to people. And I thought, I'm wondering why we're not calling it physical distancing.
You know what? That's a really great point. We should let the government know. Let's change the word.
We've got some action to do.
I'm all
Because
for
it's
it.
we're in it for a while. We don't want and the follow on that he said, I think it was I think he had it was when he so I can't remember when one of the other pandemics that we had a number of years ago, Ebola. And we had one of it was there was one of the lady that came back, she ended up getting it, and she survived it. And after that she said, life was really interesting because people that knew her, and she was um a popular, like a lot of people knew this individual, and
Mhm.
sometimes when she was in public, some people would of course go up and hug her, and then others sometimes would still avoid her, but yet it was ample time after that she had, like, she'd had it, but she beat it. So it wasn't,
She was great.
and there, yeah. So there was this, it was just, there was no reason for people to
Yeah,
avoid.
they're talking about that once we, are allowed to go back out. They're talking about wearing masks as being part of the norm. And again, that's going to be a physical barrier between people.
Yeah,
So, not allowing that physical barrier to stop us from being social is going to be important.
yeah, very, very much so.
Hmm.
Yep.
The fourth tip is being physical, moving your body. I mean, we've talked about this and talked about it and talked about it, but going out for a walk and or physical exercise of any kind. But the best time to do it is the morning. Again, with your circadian rhythms, it is moving your body before noon or 1 p.m.
Yeah.
So that's the key.
And I love that comment, because I think too, Camilla, whether it's someone's just, if they can even do three quick 10 minutes, I think the point is just to do, like, to start and then try to keep it consistent every day. You can always do a little bit more every day for those that can't get outside, even if they have stairs, going up and down your stairs, do it 8 times, because 8 times might take you 5 minutes.
For sure.
And it's just so like this, the simplicity of it, so that we can do it. I've been in that space before, and I've always said to people, there's no magic pill. It's not an easy thing to do, get up and work out and get up, and but just to get up and move. So as I get older, it's like, Michelle, you just got to have something every day that you do.
Right. Yeah, I totally agree. Just got to
Yeah.
move. I mean, even if you prefer, there are people obviously because of their work schedules can only work out, let's say after work, between 4 and 6 or between 6 and 8. And, that's fine for working out, but moving your body in the morning will stimulate your biology. And so that's important.
Yeah.
The fifth tip is sticking to a consistent sleep schedule. So I know we've all fallen off the wagon with watching movies, talking to people, playing games, and we've been up till midnight. Some of my kids have been up till 1 o'clock on some points, and it's disrupted our whole schedule. And just this week we've gone back to maintaining our routine. Putting that alarm clock on, even if you're too tired to get up at 8, get up at 8 o'clock or 7 o'clock or 9 o'clock, whatever your regular time is, right? and then going to bed at your usual time. So we need to stick to that regular sleep-wake schedule. Your body works best with a routine. And if you don't stick to that routine, you're going to find that you're not going to be sleeping well during this time.
Yeah, makes very good sense. Camilla, even as minor as I have my middle child who's in her young 20s at Waterloo was home for a period of time.
Mhm.
And as a mother, I was a little uncomfortable to say and agree that, yeah, you can go back to, but she was not in her environment. She wasn't, and it was affecting her structure, affecting her sleep. It was affecting. Now she's been up there for now going on 2 full weeks, but her demeanor, everything has gotten back to her happier place where she was.
Right. That's awesome.
Because she's been up there for 2 years, but it's structured. Like it was just, so she's up now early in the morning, and she's a very systematic type of, like, she has to follow a system.
Yeah, totally. That's awesome. One of the other things that I would recommend, and this is more of a, I guess, a psychological tool, it would be to start, you could call it a worry book. There's, what you're doing is parking all of the thoughts that stress you out. And you're going to do this a couple hours before you go to sleep, not just before you go to bed. What I like to do is I look at my schedule for the next day. I write down, write down my tasks. I am present to the people I need to connect with, what I'm going to be doing the next day, what I possibly need to get accomplished, any loose ends that need to be tied up, like anything that is sort of ruminating in my brain, I'm writing it down. So I call it the parking lot. Park it in a notebook, write it down. If I'm concerned about something, write it down. So you can call it a worry book, you can call it whatever you'd like, but you're planning out your day, and you're writing down the list of things, journaling specific worries or concerns that you may have.
Very cool.
Yeah, because you don't want to bring those to bed with you.
No. And well, and as I'm listening to what you're sharing is, there's a lot of speak around, well, you got to think positively, you got to do this. And what I always find is you got to, how do we have the tools to? That's why I'm just so, like, I'm really grateful for this. But the same breath, we're all human. So we're going to have our moments. And depending on, we have this going on in our mind and that going on in our mind. And so what I'm really hearing is you have you have a book that you can, once you parking lot them, they're out of your mind. And it's sort of this way of saying, okay, now that I took it from here to here, I'm going to leave it there, and I'm not thinking about it, because it's there. So I don't have to worry about it going away, but it's there, and I'm going to have my restful peace.
Yeah, and I also keep a notebook on my nightstand. So if for whatever reason something else pops up that I may have forgotten about, sometimes I'll wake up in the middle of the night and think, oh my God, I forgot, this and that. I just write it down. Yeah. Write it down. I don't keep it in my brain. I park it.
Yes.
Okay. So tip number 7, limit your screen time before bed and while you're in bed. We see a lot of jokes with, people with their phones in bed, and I'm guilty for that for sure. But the science behind this is the bright blue light of the devices is what keeps you alert. So it's important that you avoid any and all electronics 1 to 2 hours before you go to sleep. The best habit that I have found is do not keep your phone in your room.
Makes sense.
Keep it in the kitchen, keep it downstairs. Put it in another room where it's not easy for you to sort of roll over and access your phone. I got into the habit of watching movies before I go to sleep, and I would fall asleep because I would get tired, and then I would turn off my phone and I'd put it on the bedside. And here's what I noticed: I never slept through the night. I would be waking up 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning. And then I'd be awake for an entire hour going, what the heck? Why am I awake? And so I realized after, understanding the blue light and our biology is that while we can go to sleep, our sleep cycle is going to be interrupted because of fluctuations in the melatonin. And so I might get to sleep, but I'm not going to stay asleep.
I so appreciate this tip. I know, and then having, and I know just through my own daughter, and she's in a program, if you will, being that she's had, um, and we don't know if it's a matter of her having like, way too much screen time, or just she was born really early or whichever, but it's she has to have scheduled. She has myopia, which is it doesn't get better, and since she's had it, there's and it's the amount of screen time that she's been on. We talked about the blue lights, all of that, but the aspect of shutting it off a couple hours before you go to sleep, Camilla, I think that alone is so important for us to understand and just start practicing.
Yeah, I mean, look, everyone knows that, and the companies have all told us already, screen time is up during this COVID-19 pandemic.
Yeah.
I mean, we're remotely working from home, so we're in front of a screen. People are creating virtual happy hours, so we're in front of a screen.
Yeah.
We're getting updates, digital news updates. We're scrolling social media just because we're bored. We're playing video games, so everything's in front of the screen, and so it's important that we limit that in the evening.
Yeah.
Yeah. The last one is everybody's favorite. Limit your alcohol intake. So statistics are already out in the United States. I haven't seen them in Canada yet, but the week ending March 21st, the sales in the US were up 55% for purchasing of alcoholic beverages versus the same time last year. That's huge. Huge.
Okay.
Right? And so why is that? Well, people are they're medicating their anxiety with alcohol. So again, while alcohol can allow us to fall asleep faster, it creates a fragmented sleep pattern. And then what happens is we don't stay asleep. So we'll wake up, fall asleep. We'll wake up, we'll fall asleep, and then you don't feel like you've had that full rest. You wake up actually feeling tired.
Yeah, because you've not gotten into a deep sound sleep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I know I've fallen prey to this. It's like I started to have a glass of wine with dinner every night. And then at one point I'm like, oh my God, I have alcohol 3 times a year. Why am I having a glass of wine for the last 5 days? What is that?
I think just having that wake up sort of self-awareness, just that self-awareness of, I've, I can, as I said, I can relate. I'm not
I'm
so
sure
much, yeah. we, well, I can relate because I went out to buy, and I usually will have wine on the weekend, Camilla. And I'm not, I do have a tendency to do it more as a habit. It'll sit there. I don't, for some reason, like it'll sit there. I won't drink it, but I will say now what I've done is, and I've had it, but have I poured myself a glass of wine through the week? Yes. Do I have more wine than I normally have in the house? Yes.
Yes.
Okay, wait a second. So we're, but going back to you say, I got to fall into some kind of a system and structure, whether we're out or we're working from home or we're temporarily off.
Right.
It's so important what I'm hearing, because just we've got to keep the norm in our life, the structure in our life. And, increasing our alcohol consumption is not necessarily the best thing that anybody should be doing. Yeah. And
yeah, those are a couple of tips to keep in mind. A lot of them, most people do know these tips, or they've heard them before.
Yeah.
But there is a science behind why we're saying these things, not just because they're good ideas. So the more that you can implement all of them or most of them, the better sleep you're going to get, which is important
Yeah.
for your overall well-being.
Absolutely, because I think the other thing, Camilla, is I'm sure there's many people out there. There's some unknowns for people. Am I going to have my employment back? Is it going to be there? But yet, at the end of the day, we don't know about tomorrow. We just stay grounded today,
Right.
and we also know that everybody is in this, so it keeps us grounded. So even more important to not mask it with short-term pain relief.
Right. Correct.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I really appreciate you being here. I look forward to more. And what I will, I just want to make sure that we get this up for everybody, and hopefully, in the weeks to come, our Wi-Fi gets a little stronger. So, yeah,
Right. I know everybody's on it.
it is. We depend on it. So, but thank you very much, Camilla. And I really look forward to having you back and have an awesome balance. A
Great. Thank
Wednesday.
you as well, Michelle. Have a
Okay.
great
All
day.
right. Bye, hon.
Bye bye.